7 money rules that made you wealthy. Start them at any age. I discovered this truth the hard way when I was drowning in debt at 25, working 60-hour weeks but somehow getting further behind every month. That's when my mentor Earl asked me a question that changed my life. Do you know the difference between someone who earns $50,000 and stays broke versus someone who earns $50,000 and becomes a millionaire? The answer wasn't what I expected. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others struggle paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much they earn? Here's a startling reality. 78% of American workers live paycheck to paycheck, and it's not because they don't make enough money. It's because nobody ever taught them the fundamental principles that actually create wealth. Today, I'm going to share 7 proven financial strategies that transformed my life and the lives of thousands of others. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes or complex investment theories. They're timeless principles that work whether you're 30, 50, or starting over at any age. The best part? You can begin implementing them today, regardless of your current financial situation. But first, I need to know you're serious about change. If you're ready to stop making the same money mistakes and start building real wealth, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Then type "ready" in the comments, and let's dive into the first strategy that could revolutionize your financial future. Strategy number 1. The 70% rule. Master your money flow. You know what's crazy? Most Americans spend 100% of what they earn, and many spend 110% using credit cards. This creates a vicious cycle where no matter how much your income increases, you never feel financially secure. You're always one emergency away from financial disaster. But here's what the wealthy understand that escapes most people. True financial power comes from living below your means, not increasing your means. The 70% rule is simple. Live on 70% of your income and allocate the remaining 30% strategically. In ancient Babylon, the richest city in the world, there lived a man named Arkad who became the wealthiest person in the city. When asked for his secret, he said, "I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep." He kept 1/10 of everything he earned and lived on the rest. This principle, recorded over 4,000 years ago, remains the foundation of all wealth building. Even Warren Buffett, worth over $100 billion, still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. Here's what you do this week. Calculate your monthly take-home income. Multiply by 0.7. That's your living expense budget. Allocate 10% to savings, 10% to investing in yourself, and 10% to giving back. If 70% feels impossible, start with 90% and work your way down. When you do this consistently, within just 6 months, you'll have built an emergency fund worth thousands of dollars. In 5 years, that 10% you're investing could grow to $50,000 or more, depending on your income level. There's a story about an old shoemaker who worked the same corner for 40 years. Every day, he'd put half his earnings in one pocket for expenses and half in another for savings. When asked why he never upgraded his shop or bought fancy tools, he smiled and said, "These hands built my freedom, not my possessions." When he retired, that modest second pocket had grown to over $300,000. His secret wasn't what he earned, it was what he kept. As Jim Rohn said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens to you that matters." Your reaction to money, whether you control it or let it control you, determines your financial destiny. Strategy number 2. Pay yourself first. The automatic wealth builder. Look, I get it. You have good intentions about saving money, but somehow there's never anything left at the end of the month. You pay everyone else first, the mortgage company, credit card companies, utilities, and wonder why your future self gets nothing. Let me tell you what changed everything for me. I flipped the script completely. I started paying myself first automatically before I paid anyone else. I made my savings and investments non-negotiable, like a bill I must pay. When you automate wealth building, it becomes inevitable instead of hopeful. There's a powerful parable about 2 builders. One built his house on sand, working frantically but never laying a proper foundation. When storms came, everything collapsed. The other built slowly on rock, one stone at a time. When the same storms hit, his house stood firm. Your automatic savings are the rocks, small, consistent deposits that create an unshakable foundation. Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers and a self-made millionaire, wrote, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. But first, you must invest in yourself by paying yourself first." Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to savings account for the day after you get paid. Start with just $25 per week if that's all you can manage. Here's what happens. In 1 year, that's $1,300. In 10 years with compound interest at 7%, it becomes over $18,000. If you can do $100 per week, you're looking at $72,000 in 10 years. Increase it by $5 every 3 months, and you could have over $100,000 in your investment account within a decade. I once met a waitress named Rosa who worked at a small diner for 35 years. Every Friday, before paying any bills, she'd walk to the bank and deposit $20, no matter what. Her coworkers thought she was crazy. "Rosa, you need that money," they'd say, but she never missed a Friday. When she retired, that simple $20 a week habit had grown to over $180,000. At her retirement party, she smiled and said, "I paid myself first because I knew nobody else would." Tony Robbins teaches, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. Your wealth isn't built by occasional large amounts. It's built by small, consistent actions repeated over time. Here's what I want to know. What's the first thing you pay when you get your paycheck? Is it yourself or everyone else? Drop a comment and tell me the very first bill you pay each month. I'm curious to see how many of you are already paying yourselves first versus how many are putting themselves last. Strategy number 3. Invest in your financial education. Here's something that really gets me fired up. Our education system taught us algebra and history, but never explained compound interest, taxes, or how money actually works. You're navigating one of life's most important areas, your finances, with no real training. This lack of knowledge costs Americans millions of dollars over their lifetimes. The solution is treating financial education like a part-time job that pays incredibly well. Dedicate just 30 minutes a day to learning about money, investing, and wealth building. This isn't about becoming a financial expert. It's about becoming financially literate enough to make smart decisions. In the Talmud, there's a teaching that says, "Who is rich? One who is satisfied with their portion." But satisfaction comes from understanding, not ignorance. The Jewish tradition emphasizes learning as the path to freedom, including financial freedom. Let me tell you about Susan, a 45-year-old teacher who felt hopeless about retirement. She started listening to financial podcasts during her commute and reading one money book per month. Within 2 years, she had eliminated $30,000 in debt, maximized her 401k, and started a side business. She didn't change jobs, she changed her knowledge. Choose one financial topic to master each month. Month 1, understand compound interest. Month 2, learn about index funds. Month 3, study tax strategies. Read for 20 minutes daily, listen to financial podcasts during commutes, and join online communities focused on financial independence. The result? Within 1 year, you'll make financial decisions that could save or earn you tens of thousands of dollars. People who are financially educated typically build wealth 3 to 5 times faster than those who aren't. There was a janitor named Tom who cleaned offices at night for 30 years. While others watched TV during breaks, he'd read financial books he found in the trash. He started with a crumpled Wall Street Journal, then borrowed library books about investing. His coworkers laughed. "Tom, what do you need to know about money?" But Tom kept learning. By retirement, his modest janitor salary had grown into a $1.2 million portfolio. When asked his secret, he said, "I cleaned buildings, but knowledge cleaned up my life." Napoleon Hill wrote, "An educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants without violating the rights of others." Your financial education is your pathway to true wealth. Strategy number 4. Create a money plan before you spend. You work hard for your money, but somehow it disappears faster than you can track it. Impulse purchases, subscription services you forgot about, and small expenses that add up create financial chaos. Without a plan, your money has no direction. Every dollar needs a job before you spend it. Create a simple monthly money plan that tells each dollar exactly where to go. This isn't about restriction, it's about intention. When you plan your money, you gain control over your life. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Your money plan is exercising power over your financial mind. Here's what happened to Mike and Sarah. They were drowning in debt with 2 kids and felt hopeless. They started planning their money on paper every month, every single dollar assigned a purpose. Within 18 months, they paid off $45,000 in debt and started building wealth. The only thing that changed was that they started telling their money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. Before each month begins, sit down with a piece of paper. Write your expected income at the top. List all your expenses: housing, food, transportation, savings, investments, and fun money. Assign every dollar a category until income minus expenses equals 0. The results are immediate. Within the first month, most people find $200 to $500 they didn't realize they were wasting. Over a year, that's $2,400 to $6,000 extra going toward debt payoff or investments. Families who budget consistently build wealth 20% faster than those who don't. Maria, a single mother of 3, felt like money disappeared faster than morning coffee. Every month was a struggle until her grandmother shared an old envelope system. "Mia," she said, "give every dollar a job before it gets lazy." Maria started writing her monthly plan on her kitchen table every Sunday night. Rent, groceries, gas, even $10 for fun. Within 6 months, she had saved her first $1,000. 2 years later, she bought her first house. Her secret wasn't earning more. It was telling her money exactly where to go before it could wander off. Brian Tracy teaches, every minute you spend in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. Planning your money isn't time-consuming. It's time-creating. It eliminates the stress, arguments, and regret that come from financial chaos. Strategy number 5, build assets, not just savings. Here's the hard truth. You're saving money in a regular savings account, earning 0.5% interest, while inflation runs at 3 to 4%. Your money is actually losing purchasing power every year. Saving without investing is like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort with no forward progress. You need to transform from a saver to an investor. Build assets that generate income while you sleep. An asset puts money in your pocket, while a liability takes money out. Your goal is to accumulate as many income-producing assets as possible. The parable of the talents in the Bible tells of 3 servants given money by their master. 2 invested their money and doubled the money. 1 buried his in the ground for safety. The master praised the investors and condemned the one who hid his money. The lesson is clear. Money must work, not just sit. Consider Jennifer, a nurse who started investing $200 monthly in index funds at age 30. By age 65, with compound growth, she had over $1.2 million, more than many doctors who spent their money instead of investing it. Open an investment account this week. Start with a simple S&P 500 index fund that requires no stock picking expertise. Begin with whatever you can afford, even $25 monthly. Here's what happens. $25 monthly for 30 years at 10% annual returns becomes $54,000. $100 monthly becomes $217,000. $500 monthly becomes over $1 million. The key is starting now and never stopping. Consider learning about dividend-paying stocks, REITs, or starting a side business that can generate passive income. An elderly man named Frank owned a small grocery store in a quiet neighborhood. While his competitors expanded with flashy renovations, Frank quietly bought the building next door, then the one after that. Over 25 years, he accumulated 7 properties. When asked why he didn't upgrade his store instead, Frank chuckled, "My store pays my bills, but my buildings pay my dreams." At 70, his rental income was triple his store profits. He had learned the secret: your job gives you money, but assets give you freedom. Warren Buffett says, "Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Your investments today are trees you're planting for your future self. Start planting now, even if the trees seem small. I'm really curious about this. What's one thing you already own that could potentially make you money? Maybe it's a spare room, a skill, knowledge, or even just time. Comment below and tell me one asset you could start building this week. Let's brainstorm together. Strategy number 6, track your financial pulse. You have no idea where your money really goes. You think you're careful with spending, but somehow you're always short at the end of the month. Financial unconsciousness is keeping you trapped in patterns that sabotage your wealth building. Track every dollar like your freedom depends on it, because it does. You can't manage what you don't measure. Financial tracking gives you the data you need to make intelligent decisions about your money. Benjamin Franklin kept detailed records of every expense and noted that small expenses are like small leaks in a ship. They'll sink the whole vessel if not stopped. Here's what happened to David. He thought he was doing fine financially until he tracked his spending for 1 month. He discovered he was spending $400 monthly on coffee, lunch out, and small purchases. That's $40,800 yearly, enough to fund a Roth IRA. By becoming conscious of these expenses, he redirected that money to investments and built a 6-figure portfolio over 15 years. Use an app like Mint, YNAB, or even a simple notebook to record every expense for 30 days. Don't judge, just observe. At month's end, categorize your spending and identify your biggest money leaks. Pick one category to reduce by 20% next month and redirect that money to investments. Most people find they're wasting $300, $800 monthly on things they don't really value. Redirecting just $400 monthly to investments creates $600,000 over 25 years. That's retirement money hiding in your daily spending habits. There was a truck driver named Bill who never understood where his money went. After 20 years of driving, he had nothing to show for it. One day, his daughter gave him a small notebook and said, "Dad, just write down what you spend for 1 month." Bill thought it was silly, but did it anyway. After 30 days, he stared at the numbers in shock. He was spending $400 monthly on gas station snacks and energy drinks. "I was eating my retirement," he later said. That little notebook changed everything. Within 5 years, he had paid off his truck and saved $50,000. Jim Rohn taught, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Tracking your money is a simple discipline that creates extraordinary long-term results. Strategy number 7, think legacy, not just lifestyle. You're focused on today's comfort instead of tomorrow's freedom. You buy things to impress people you don't even like, while your future self gets nothing. This short-term thinking keeps you trapped in the cycle of working for money instead of making money work for you. Shift from a consumer mindset to a wealth builder mindset. Every financial decision should be viewed through the lens of legacy. Will this purchase move me closer to or further from financial freedom? Start building wealth that outlasts your working years. There's an ancient Jewish proverb, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." This doesn't mean just money. It means wisdom, systems, and financial principles that compound across generations. Consider John D. Rockefeller, who built his wealth not through high income, but through systematic investing and living below his means. His family is still wealthy 5 generations later because he built systems, not just bank accounts. Write down your why for building wealth. Is it financial freedom, early retirement, helping your children, having options? Post this somewhere visible. Before any significant purchase, ask, does this align with my wealth building goals? Create a 20-year vision for your financial life and make decisions that support that vision. People who have a clear financial vision and written goals become wealthy 10 times more often than those who don't. When you start thinking legacy instead of lifestyle, that $50,000 car becomes a $500,000 retirement account over 20 years. A carpenter named Samuel worked construction his whole life, never making more than $40,000 a year. While his buddies bought new trucks and boats, Samuel drove a 15-year-old pickup and lived in a modest home. His friends joked he was cheap, but Samuel had a vision. He wanted his grandchildren to go to college without debt. Every month, he invested $200 in a simple index fund. When he died at 78, he left behind $800,000 in education funds for his family. At the reading of his will, his grandson found a note: "I couldn't give you riches, but I could give you choices." Tony Robbins says, "It's not what you do once in a while that shapes your life, but what you do consistently." Your legacy isn't built by grand gestures, it's built by consistent, disciplined choices compounded over time. So here's what we've discovered together. Wealth isn't about luck, inheritance, or even high income. It's about 7 simple strategies practiced consistently over time. Live on 70% of your income, pay yourself first, invest financial education, plan your money, build assets, track everything, and think legacy. Remember, the best time to start building wealth was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Your current age isn't your limitation, it's your starting point. Every wealthy person started exactly where you are now, with a decision to change. If this video shifted how you think about money, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Hit that like button if you found value here, and subscribe for more content that actually changes lives, not just entertains. Comment below and tell me which strategy you're implementing first. Type committed if you're ready to start building real wealth this week. Your commitment might inspire someone else to take action too. And here's my promise. If you apply these principles consistently for 1 year, you'll look back on today as the moment everything changed. Your wealth-building journey starts with your next decision. Make it count. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll go even deeper into building the financially free life you deserve.